And should be alive this time. See if people can find it again. Wi-Fi's being weird. Sorry about that, people. Xfinity looked like it was dropping. Joined. I have water now. That's why the internet's working. Amsterdam found his water. Wi-Fi being weird. Evening internet blues. It happens. So working this time. Yeah, we've switched over to the, I think now we're on the 2.4 gigahertz network. Usually I'm on the 5G network, and that's what I've live streamed with the past 3 months, and it worked fine, but now it's not. Seems smooth so far. Are you sure you are connected to the internet, Mr. Taylor? I sure hope so. We pay a lot for this internet. Wish it would work correctly. But again, that's a lot to ask of Xfinity. 5 gigahertz always has a weaker connection. Well, we were able to live stream for the past 3 months on 5 gigahertz, so, and that worked out. But now we're on 2.4, and it seems to be working fine. Can anyone recall where we were? Where were we? Range is shorter, but the router's literally right behind the computer, so it's fine. And the iMac Pro doesn't do much moving. Vivo Apex, yeah. I had my doubts when I heard that the Apex was going into production because, first of all, the Note 9, Samsung, always innovator of hardware features, display features, all of that stuff. Even they're not rumored to have a fingerprint reader built into the display of the Note 9. Why is that? There's got to be a reason that Samsung even can't make that happen. So it means that Vivo is either cutting certain corners or the technology barely works. They think it makes a good concept, but on a massive scale, it's probably not going to work out very much. But I don't have a lot of faith when you release something as a concept phone and then you say it's going into production, but you don't say how much it's going to cost. So I have my doubts. If it comes out and it's cheap and it's affordable, I'd gladly check it out and see what it has to offer, but I have my doubts. Vivo Apex price, what is your guess? I'm guessing personally with that, the fact that here's the other reason I doubt this. Vivo released a phone with the fingerprint reader built into the display called the X20 Plus, and that's $700 with micro USB, low pixel per inch, bad camera, outdated processor. So now the Apex has a larger portion of the screen dedicated to a fingerprint sensor. Supposedly less bezels, good cameras. We don't really know a ton more about it, but with all of that in, I'm guessing it's going to cost a lot. So I'd assume that's pushing more into the $1,000 plus market easily. If it's under that, I'll be impressed, and if they are able to release a bunch of them that people enjoy using, I'll be interested. But as of right now, it's still a concept. My mind is not convinced it's going to go away. Why S9 limits 5 minutes to 4K at 60? Is that true? It can only do 4K at 60 for 5 minutes? Because it sucks, apparently. As Nathan said. I'll do an S9 Plus camera test as soon as I get an S9. You're welcome to send one. That is true. Wow, I didn't realize that. I didn't know that was a thing until just now. What is your response to the LG V30 having better battery life than the 10? How is your experience with this? Well, I don't own a V30, first of all, but that's good. I'm happy for phones that can get good battery lives. I don't have an issue with my 10's battery life. It doesn't die. Like, I've been using it all day. What's it at? 75% charged, which is pretty good. And that's at 1150. Plus the thing with batteries, the reason I don't really in phone reviews bring up battery life too often is that I've never experienced a battery in a budget or premium smartphone that makes the phone worth or not worth it. I've never had a phone battery so bad that the whole phone wasn't worth it, and I've never had a battery so good that the whole phone was worth it. So that's why I don't bring up battery technology too much. Between, iPhone standby time is in when you're not using it, it uses very little power, as well as the fact that I I just have Qi chargers everywhere now. There's ones on the couch, there's ones at the home, there's ones at the desk. So it's always sitting on a Qi charger anyway, that I'm not really worried about prolonged battery life to begin with. Drew, you have a charger at your desk and you're there all your time. Well, you're asking for my experience. That is my experience. That's what I've experienced, so that's what I'm expressing. Even when I use my phone though all day and I'm not at the office, when I go on big hikes or trips and stuff, it's never been so bad that the phone's not worth it. If Android's a little bit better with battery, then it's fine. It doesn't make Android worth it. It doesn't make iOS useless. Only 1080 at 30 or lower quality is unlimited recording on Androids. Even 1080 at 60 is limited to 10 minutes. Really?
It's because it heats up too much.
Did they heat up?
Red.
Is that true?
Yes, it says it's a problem with lots of high-end Android phones.
Wow. Okay, that's a problem with Android I didn't even know I had. That is really dumb. Yeah. I would use that. I've many times recorded much longer than 10 minutes on my iPhone between, like, I don't know, shorts for, I mean, not shorts, but like podcast kind of video clips, or like filming people's, like, you think that would be a problem people run into if they're filming like their kid's recital or like a play or something. It's like, oh, it's filled up. My phone's overheated.
My phone's so hot.
But someone else is saying 1080 at 60 is unlimited. It's still a problem on iPhone. It doesn't stop recording, but it drops frames a lot. I haven't experienced that. But I can say that because I have recorded 1080 at 60 for hours at a time. But I don't know. It sounds like we're getting mixed feedback on what actually happens. Oh, we got our first super chat of the evening. Thank you from Nosh. Says, any comments on rumored low-cost HomePod? What about Siri compared to Amazon/Google and Siri fragmentation across devices? Inconstant features, e.g. Siri cannot control lighting from desktop. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I was really excited to see that there are rumors confirming that they're working on a cheaper HomePod. That's something I really wanted to see. In fact, using the HomePods as I've been for the past couple weeks, I'm definitely confident that they're as loud as they need to be. I don't think making a plus or even larger version of the HomePod is terribly necessary. There, of course, there's probably a market for it, but I think in terms of sheer sound quality and loudness, 2 HomePods would work fine. I don't think you need one that would be as much as loud, but I'm very satisfied with the loudness of it. So I definitely think Apple would be better off making HomePods that are cheaper, because HomePod sounds great, but at $350, that's kind of a high starting price, especially considering the competition starts way lower. But yeah, and then regards to Siri, you were asking about, I would like to see, I guess this isn't a similar thing. Because Google doesn't really have like a Mac OS equivalent. I guess Chrome OS, but that's not really the same thing. Can you control your, maybe you could Google this. Google it, see, we're using this. Can you use your smart home appliances with your Chrome OS device via the Google Assistant?
What Chrome OS device?
I think the Pixel Book has the Google Assistant on it. But no one would have that anyway, so how would they know? But yeah, I agree. There should be a way that Siri on the Mac can control your smart home devices, but at the same time, that's what your phone, your watch, your HomePod can do anyway. So I mean, it's a weird thing. It's like, yeah, why can't the Mac do that? But it's not like a deal breaker thing. Like, why can't you do that? Like, it's not like, man, I would buy more HomeKit devices if it worked on the Mac. It's like, are there a lot of instances in which you have your Mac but not your phone, watch, or I guess HomePod now, especially if you need a hub? I don't know. It's a minor thing. I rarely use Siri on the Mac, to be honest.
Windows in October started letting people use smart home devices, but that's not through anything besides just Windows. So it's not
like through Cortana, or just,
I think just buttons.
Oh, just buttons. Okay. Huh. Well, if you don't have an Apple Watch or HomePod and your phone is in your pocket, okay. I mean, it's like it's one extra step, I guess. But yeah, that's definitely something I think they should add. There's no reason as to why Siri on the Mac shouldn't have that, but yeah, it's not a huge deal for me. Okay, what else did you add? There's one more super chat I'll get into, but he also said it's yeah, I think that's inconstant features. Siri can't control lighting from desktop. I also wanted to bring up that while Siri may get a lot of crap for how dumb she is, she's definitely not as creepy as the Amazon Echo devices, which have been randomly laughing. And then the day before she was randomly laughing, Alexa just turned off entirely. I'm sorry, I probably set off everyone's devices. That just flat out didn't work. Anyway, next super chat is from William, who asks, "What do you think of the new revived Nokia?" I think it's dumb, personally. I'll just say it. It's cool if you want that kind of thing. What's hypocritical about that, though, is in order to find out about those new Nokia phones that are reviving between the Flip 1 and the 3310, in order to find out about that, you have to have a smartphone. As in, you could not have discovered the new Nokia phones if you were using a new Nokia phone. So it's not meant to replace anyone's flagships. It's just there as kind of a funny joke, I guess. I guess people we're getting robbed right now anyway. Woofa super chatted says, "What do you think of the Amazon Echo? Laughing at people. Also love your videos and thoughts on things. Keep up the great work." Thank you very much. And yeah, it's just bizarre. It'd be kind of funny though if Siri started doing that. I guess it would kind of make me laugh. But yeah, it's definitely kind of weird. Jay says, "Please read the below comment, which says Apple sheep robbed from Alpha." Thank you. Okay. Do challenge iPad only, no Apple Watch, take it everywhere, and then make video about it and post it on the tech channel. Thoughts on adding different faces for Face ID? You could for Touch ID. Well, for Touch ID, first of all, they did that. They said it wasn't for multiple people. It was for multiple fingers. Apple, I think, intends your secureness of the phone to be accessed by one person. They didn't really intend it to be multiple. I could definitely use it if it did work on multiple people. I think that would be kind of nice. But you have multiple fingers. You don't have multiple faces. I don't really know why I would do an iPad challenge. I don't know why that would benefit. First of all, I don't have a cellular iPad, so I'd have to hotspot it off the phone. It's not really meant to do that, and I don't think Apple wants you to do that. So I don't know why I'd try that. One more thing, make a schedule for posting videos on the Tech and Talks channel. The schedule is very simple. It's get videos posted as soon as possible. That's it. We're not going to upload things and then not publish them for a long time just to fit for a schedule. We're producing as much content as possible. That's the schedule. But on iPad, it should multiple faces. Why? Just because it's an iPad? Should my Apple Watch Series 3 make my hand twitch? Probably not. That's a bad thing. Do you think the iPhone 10 is too expensive? No, I don't, Othel. In fact, we had a big argument earlier today with someone about why I think the iPhone 10 was too cheap. I think that the fact that the iPhone 10 starts at $999 means that the iPhone 8 Plus and 8 are actually kind of pointless, because why would someone invest into an 8 Plus if it only costs like, $200 more and they can get an iPhone 10, which is so much better in so many ways. So it kind of made the 8 pointless. And I also think that the 10 is supposed to be the phone of the future. It's supposed to be this flagship phone that's like, here's a taste of what the future is like. And if that's the case, why include Lightning earpods? Why include a 5-watt charge brick? I think they would have been way better off if the iPhone 10 had a higher starting price, but included a fast charger brick with USB-C to Lightning, not USB-A. That's so dated. And including Lightning earpods, that's not the experience they want you to go with. They want you to use AirPods. Include AirPods with the purchase, include a fast charger or a Qi charger with the purchase. It would make the iPhone 10 a lot more expensive, yes, but it would make the 8 more logical because there would be a lot more of a price gap between those two phones. So you had people who want to buy the futuristic premium device, or you want people who buy the regular standard upgrade device between the 8 and the 10. I would have been okay if it costed more, but it included more futuristic things. So no, I don't think it was. I do not think it was too expensive. Tech Film super chat. It says, "What do you think about S9 Plus DxO Mark score?" Um, Obviously, I've talked about DxOMark before. I don't think you should rely on them for how good camera video quality is. The reason I bring up the S9's DxOMark score so much is because that's what Google, especially the Pixel team, refers to as this is how you should rate cameras. You should look at these scores and treat those scores as truth, because both with the Pixel 1 and the Pixel 2, we had the highest score on DxOMark. So you should trust them and understand that this is the highest rated camera. The reason I bring that up is because now, after Pixel 2 said, we don't need a dual camera doesn't matter, we have AI. Now a phone company, not Google, made a dual camera setup that scored higher than the Pixel 2. So now Google can't really say that you don't need a dual camera anymore, because the company that they referred to as being all smarts, the best reviewer, best in the biz, decided that a phone that is, on top of that, cheaper than the Pixel 2, that the S9 Plus, a phone cheaper than the Pixel 2, has a dual camera, which Pixel says they don't need, scored a higher score on that company that Google holds so high. That's why I bring it up. In terms of actual picture quality, video quality, all premium smartphones are so close these days. I don't think it makes a huge difference. But what makes a difference to me is, first of all, no limits. Being able to record 4K at 60 for over 10 minutes or 5 minutes would be quite nice. But in terms of DxOMark, they favor things that I don't think should be favored. Like at the bottom of the chart, they count things like bokeh and zoom as like, that doesn't really matter. Whereas I think that does make a huge difference for most people when you're taking pictures and videos, being able to zoom in on things, being able to take portrait mode shots with a telephoto lens, not a wide angle like it is on the Pixel. That's what I think matters too much. As a company, no, I don't think DxOMark is what you should go by. But I just thought it was funny because it was Samsung shooting Google in the foot. That's why it was hilarious. Are you more biased against Google than against Samsung? I'm not against Samsung in any way. I think Samsung makes great phones. They make it very difficult to stick with an iPhone sometimes. Sometimes, again, like when I reviewed the S8, I mentioned that a lot of the time it made me want to keep using the S8 and not go back to my iPhone. That eventually changed weeks later when the S8 started having so many software bugs, and I quickly realized that Android, while fun in short bursts and being able to customize things and have a different ecosystem, I can get used to Android. I can use it fluidly. With all of that in mind, there comes a time where it gets boring and you understand that there's not going to be massive software updates or much support for it for years to come. Like we just found out today that Google is discrediting all support of Android tablets with Android P. So Android P is not going to support any more tablets, and it's not going to support the Nexus line. So now the Nexus 6P, Nexus 5X, those are now no longer supported by Google. They're not even that old. They're as old as an iPhone 6S, which iPhone 5Ss can get iOS 11. So I thought it was just ridiculous. So I was like, Samsung makes really good hardware, but they're stuck with that Android software and that Samsung ecosystem, which does not compare at all. You know, Apple Watch is way better than Gear S3. iMacs are way better than whatever Samsung makes. So I don't like Windows 10 either. You can't convince me that that's worth it either, unless you're talking about gaming. If you're not talking about gaming, then Windows 10's not my favorite either. So I can't switch to Samsung, but they make good stuff. I really, really like Samsung. I don't like Google. People were making fun of you in MKBHD new video. I saw that, yes. It was very obvious that everyone wanted to know exactly what I thought about that video. That's why I made that response video so quickly. I'm using the Nexus 6P, and my upgrade is only in a few months. Going to get iPhone 10. I hope you enjoy it, Lamar. Hope you enjoy it. How could the A12 chip be any better than A11? It's already more powerful than the Snapdragon 845. Well, keep in mind, the Apple A10 chip was already faster than the 835. So it's not like Apple just passed up Android in terms of processors. They've always been far ahead, especially since the A series of chips. They've significantly passed up Android chips. So with the A12, they're just going to get even faster, and then they'll sweep them. They'll sweep the floor with them. Windows 10 is actually not really bad once you disable all the privacy crap. Okay, Alpha. My issue with Windows 10 is that it is inconsistent. For some people, it works fine. For others, it does not. For me, it does not. I still use Windows 10 on a daily basis. We have gaming PCs. We have a gaming channel. I'm getting a gaming PC today. If you want to see that unboxing, go to Tailosive Gaming, check it out. But it's purely because of the gaming purposes. We hate that we have to use Windows 10. I use Windows 10 a lot, and I do not enjoy it at all. Updates are also pretty annoying. Exactly. There's tons of updates. I don't think the A10 is more powerful than the Snapdragon 845. Please confirm this. Please just check out any Geekbench score. Look up Geekbench 4 and see what the iPhone 10 scored compared to the S9. This isn't fake news. This isn't a lie. This is the facts. This is just how it is. A11 chip is crazy fast. Luke, I don't know if you're out of the loop, but I did respond to Front Page Tech. We had a whole debate. So you could check on that before you tell me if I'm going to. Yeah, the Android notch is pretty dumb. Kids uses Windows, Men uses Mac, and Legends uses Linux. Is that how it works? Jeez. Do you wish screen on iPhone 10 was bigger? May get 8 Plus because of more screen. Definitely. When the 10 Plus is available, I'm getting that. I really hope. I meant A10. No way. I said 835, not 45. In fact, the A10 actually still might be faster than the 45, given that the S9 scored pretty horribly. But I'm looking at a Geekbench of it right now. I guess I can't post it to you, but let's see. If I hit like on this, I can bring it up on my phone. But the A10 was faster than the 835. No competition. It was a steal. Can you confirm Apple over ears? Because I do not work for Apple, I cannot confirm anything, but I can say I really hope that happens. Okay, likes. There's your Geekbench score. And with the 845 right beneath it. Keep in mind, iPhone 10 came out 5 months before the S9, and it is still faster. It's great. I don't think when you're comparing S9 camera, Pixel 2 camera, iPhone camera, there's any like significant standout. They all have pros and cons. I like iPhone 10 front-facing portrait mode bokeh isn't as good as Pixel 2's, but Pixel 2 is limited to wide angles, whereas the iPhone gives you more option with telephoto. It also gives you 4K at 60, 1080 at 240. The S9 is just now getting into that field with 4K at 60, but again, limited to 5 minutes. Most people who do video tests between the iPhone 10 and Note 8 found that Galaxy phones are not as good with optical image stabilization. They have dual optical image stabilization, but it's not as good as the iPhone. So there's not a giveaway winner. I say iPhone just because I can take pictures and I can record videos and airdrop them to anything, which I can't do on Samsung or the Pixel. So, hey, Front Page Tech is in the chat. How's it going? He says, the only thing worse than Android phones shipping without an OS is an Android phone shipping with a version of Android that supports a notch. Welcome to Android P, Front Page Tech. Can you tell the people in the chat, John, that we did a collaboration and it's on your channel and they can check that out just to confirm? Some people, I guess, didn't realize that happened and they were telling me. Front Page Tech, he responded. Did you see the video? Garbo says, no notch 2019 iPhone. Thoughts? Thanks for the super chat. I don't think anyone can know at this point. Apple doesn't know that. I mean, if the technology and the R&D made it possible to not have a notch, why wouldn't they implement that on the 2018 iPhone? Why would they save that for 2019? So I think they're going to aim to remove the notch in 2019, but there's no guarantees. Apple doesn't know if they can do that. Thank you. I'll reiterate it for everyone. People in the chat, we did a thing. Stop asking for the thing. There's already a thing. We did a thing. That is all. Thank you. Exactly. And it was really fun, by the way. Front Page, John, it was a fun debate. I enjoyed it. And yeah, I thought it was very entertaining. So people should check that out on your channel. Quite a turnout too. Lots of people super chatting, lots of people watching. Very interesting debate there, yeah. I think it's possible the 2018 iPhone will have a smaller notch. The only thing I could think of them doing is perhaps combining the dot protector and IR sensor into one, or perhaps embedding the earpiece in between the glass and the stainless steel, like the Essential phone did. So that's also possible. It might be smaller, but I don't think it'll be gone. Do you think Apple will always keep a square watch face or go circular? Scott, I did a video a while back on why Apple won't make circular watches, and it's actually because it doesn't support um, what you need to do on a watch, which is look at information and read text, and reading on a round display is much, much harder. It was, yeah, it wouldn't really work out. Android Wear tried to do this, and you don't see much success there. Galaxy Gear tried to do this, you don't see much success there. There's a reason the Apple Watch has done the best in terms of wearables, and I don't think they're going to try to mess with that. Thinking about getting AirPods soon, but when do you think the next refresh will be? So it's reportedly AirPower is supposed to be coming out anytime this month, which typically, I assume, to make AirPower worth it means that the wireless charging AirPods are going to come out at any time. So I would wait on it at least till the end of March. Hopefully we'll get that website refresh before the end of March. Why are the tech YouTubers mentioning Dyson recently? It's just sponsorships. That's all it is. Everyone's getting paid. There's nothing wrong with that, but Dyson is going crazy with that YouTuber support. So they wanted everyone to know about the Dyson vacuums. Should I buy the Magic Mouse 2 or wait for Magic Mouse 3? I don't know of any Magic Mouse 3 coming soon. But it's very hard to recommend the Magic Mouse 2 because everyone just brings up the charge port. So I was only paid to say this. You can trust me, of course. Mac Pro refresh starting price, stay same or change? I think it'll stay the same. It wouldn't make sense if the Mac Pro started at the same price as an iMac Pro because it won't come with a display. It's probably won't even come with a keyboard and mouse, even though it I don't know why personally they keep selling the trash can Mac Pro. They should at least update that to have Thunderbolt 3 on the back. It only has Thunderbolt 2, which is really dated, and like you pay $3,000 and you get a quarter terabyte. That's just way, way, way too small. I don't know why they didn't either discontinue that or at least update the ports on the back. Please, Apple, something. Christopher super chatted a lot. Thank you very much. No comment with it, but I appreciate it. Let's see. What if Apple enabled cheat charging on Magic Mouse and make an AirPower mouse pad for iMac? That's exactly what I want. You've already seen Razer do some really clever things with mouse and trackpads where they can mice and trackpads where they can they don't even have batteries in them. They just have capacitors, and resting it on the mouse pad actually powers it and gives it a charge, and that way the mouse is extra light. I wish Apple would do something like that. I would love that. How much gigabytes do you use per month? Well, believe it or not, back when I was first starting YouTube and I was working out of an attic, we didn't have Wi-Fi and we did everything via Verizon Unlimited. So let's see, with Verizon Unlimited now, I've used 26 gigs this month. And if we're talking about Wi-Fi with Xfinity here at the office, I've used, I think the max we used in 1 month was 2.3 terabytes. I think we used 2.3 terabytes, which is not crazy high, but I mean, it's pretty high. We had to pay extra for that because if you don't buy the unlimited plan, they start charging overages after a terabyte. So we got unlimited, which means that there's no overages, which costs a little bit more, but we save money as long as I think we use more than 1.3 terabytes a month. As long as we use more than 1.3, we're saving money with unlimited, which we do every single month. Okay. A Pixel with dual camera and iOS is just an iPhone 8 Plus. No, that would be an iPhone 8 Plus without wireless charging. So it would be an iPhone 7 Plus. Let's see. Got the iPhone 10, but the battery is not up the mark. Any suggestions to increase battery life? And also my benchmark is like 64,000. That's for 256. That's not right. Shouldn't be that high. In terms of the battery not being up to par, I've heard that Mophie is working on battery chargers that are Qi supported, which I thought was kind of interesting. Charges your phone via Qi. I would have liked to see that, but apparently Mophie's doing it, not Apple. So either way, that's kind of cool. Or just do wherever you're hanging out, wherever you're resting, just have a Qi charger there. They're pretty cheap. Do you go to college? I used to. I dropped out of college. Not a fan of college. Didn't like it. A lot of people asking about Apple buying Snapchat. For one, they haven't, and for two, I don't like Snapchat. I'm not on Snapchat. I don't. I'm not really that into it. So if they bought them, it'd be weird. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they will. It'd be more likely for them to buy Netflix, and that's not likely. So would you consider an Android if it had a working ecosystem like Apple? So on top of the fact of that Apple doesn't really have that walled garden, as Mark has said, that no other company's really recreated what Apple has between watches working all the way up to something professional like an iMac Pro. The fact that no other company has had that means that it's very difficult for people who enjoy any type of tech ecosystem to switch out of Apple's, because there's not really somewhere else they can go and get the same stuff. If you want to switch to a Google or Samsung ecosystem, it means buying crappier tablets, crappier laptops, crappier wearables. So people aren't going to do that. Of course not. But if Google had one that was as good as Apple's, again, it would still be, you'd still have to encourage people to switch out of it, which a lot of people, just because they're comfortable with the tech you use, whether it's an iMac or you use a PC, just because you find out that a Mac might game as well as your PC, that doesn't mean you need to sell your old PC, buy a Mac now, spend all this new money. Some people are just comfortable with the ecosystem they're in. So not only would they have to create an ecosystem as good as Apple's, they would have to make it better, cheaper, easier somehow. And in that way, they would do better. So, but yeah, I don't see that happening. They're not very good at it. The only hope for Snapchat right now is an acquisition by Apple, by anybody, by Tyson. Wonderful. Yeah, Snapchat, I heard, was laying off 100 employees, but then at the same time, you hear rumors that they're working on a new generation of spectacles. It's like the next generation of spectacles will have 2 cameras. And it was like, was that the problem? Was that the issue with Snapticles or whatever they want to call them? I don't think the issue was that they didn't have enough cameras. It was just they were stupid. The idea of them were stupid. The idea that you were going to record circular video throughout your day and add it to a story that was going to be erased in 24 hours. I don't like the idea of Snapchat, period. I think it just encourages people to say things and do things that they'll forget later. That's 10% of their employees. Geez, yeah, they must be doing pretty bad. I never liked Snapchat, so I don't really mind that they're failing. It sucks for the employees, of course. I hope they find jobs, and I hope they are able to get hired elsewhere. But the idea of Snapchat, I'm not a fan of. But you use Patreon Lens? Yes, I do plenty of Patreon perks. In fact, for those curious, you know how a lot of people have been asking for Saturday shorts on the main channel in a long time. We have just finished our coming back Saturday short. We're returning. You can watch that Saturday short right now if you're a Patreon subscriber. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber, it'll be available for everyone on YouTube on the main channel this Saturday, which is tomorrow. So yeah, you'll get to watch that. Why does iOS look more attractive? Please reply. I would say because it's probably more consistent. So iOS looks very similar throughout. It looks very similar throughout all phones, whereas Android can look in a lot of different ways. Why do you make so many streams? Well, the reason I like interacting with the audience so much is because this is something I like to take advantage of while the channel is fairly small, because I'm acknowledging that one day, if the tech channel keeps growing and we get into the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers, being able to interact with you guys on a more personal level is not going to be possible. That's not going to be something we're going to be able to do. So while the channel is small and, the live streams are under 200 people, 300 people, as long as they're small like that, being able to have conversations and answer individual questions that are not super chats, that's still relatively doable. Whereas one day that might not be possible, and it might not be logical. It might not make sense anymore to do 2 live streams a week. I could do Patreon exclusive live streams, but there's really not enough people supporting on Patreon for there to be a working chat. It would be kind of more of a chat room, which I guess Patreon supports. But yeah, we got 138 patrons, which is a lot, but you have to find times in which everyone's is available, and those would be very, very small. Anyway, I prefer interacting with you guys who don't have money to support, but just want to support by watching. I'm all into that. Would you still recommend buying an iPhone 10 now or wait for the iPhone 10 Plus for the bigger screen? I still think you can buy a 10 now and have it be current and flagship and make it still feel premium for a while. But I'd say March is the cutoff. If you're thinking about buying one, but you can't afford one yet, maybe start saving for this year's 2018 version. But yeah, make a decision pretty quickly. Don't have a ton of time left before it starts to make less and less sense to buy a 2017 smartphone. I have no burn-in on my iPhone 10 so far. So far, it's completely clean. Native theming and icon packs on iOS. Well, like that one commenter said earlier, there's something about iOS that is very familiar and attractive, and that's what keeps people towards it. So maybe messing with that is not the best idea. That notch is pretty burned in. Yeah, but I mean that would have to be a display, John, right? There's no display there, so how could it be burned in? It's not OLED. It's not as bad as like Android, where literally not having the display turn off while charging, and then it just literally burns in the display. Like they designed it like that. Do you think if Steve Jobs would be alive, Apple would be much more successful? I don't. I think Apple would be very similar if Steve was still around. But again, it's stupid to play that game. We don't know. He's gone. We can't change that. The home bar at the bottom of the screen could cause burn-in. It could maybe, but I haven't yet. You can see for yourself. There's nothing. There's no burn-in at the bottom, but I'll keep checking. So far, it's good. I've heard in order to get burn-in on an iPhone 10 display, it has to be at like 100% brightness on for like, I think several days. I'm not sure, but I have none. Let's see. Yeah, if you don't like notches, 2018 is not going to be a good year for you. Basically, enjoy Samsung. That's what it is if you're not a notch fan. William says, comment below. Thank you for the super chat. What do you think about Samsung's cheap phones? Example, A series and J series. I've never tried them. I have no problem with them. They're fine. Samsung has a very different approach when making products. Apple kind of has for $1 trillion company, they don't have a lot of products when you think about it. They just have a couple of lines of products, whereas Samsung sells huge variations on lots of different phones, and they sell lots of them in different styles. And, like you said, the A series, J series, it's great for catering to a more budget-friendly audience. But as Apple has discovered, catering to people with less money typically doesn't result in a better product or ecosystem, because when you think about it, while they may not be great phones, yes, they appeal to cheaper audiences, but that means they don't invest as much. And when you're a company that's focused on profit, the App Store is going to be pretty barren when all of the developers don't have much money to work with. That's why you see apps like Alto's Odyssey. They cost $5 on iOS, but they're free on Android, because they know if they asked for money on the Play Store, no one would get it. So they don't even try. They're like, well, we can't make money on the Play Store. So we sell it, we give it to Android users for free and then put ads on it, because they'll watch ads, they'll take free apps. But we know that iOS users will pay money, so we'll charge money on iOS. It's just the ecosystem, it's the audience that it results in. Let's see. iMac Pro in silver this year. All my tech is white/aluminum. We'll see. If the next generation iPad Pro, which is rumored to release in June, if it has black bezels and not white, I'll probably switch to a silver ecosystem. It looks sweet, and I'd take a white silver, 10 plus. They look really, really good. Is there any disadvantage of buying a refurbished iPhone 6s? Please reply, Drew. Well, it's old. First of all, it's an old phone. But if you're buying certified refurbished from Apple, it's going to work great. It's going to work fine. Anytime I've bought refurbished from Apple, it's always felt brand new. When do you think Google will stop making the Pixel? Hopefully soon. They stopped making the Nexus lineup because those weren't doing so well. And I thought those were pretty good phones. But surprisingly, they canceled them and went forward with the Pixel. And those aren't selling too well either, but I guess they're just trying to stay consistent with it. They don't have tremendous numbers. I'll just say that. I mean, what was it? 3.9 million phones in all of 2017. That's not too hot, especially for a company the size of Google. If that was like Essential, that'd be pretty impressive. Because that's a startup company and that's their first phone. But the fact that it's Google, who makes billions on ad revenue, and Android, one of the most popular operating systems on the planet, says this is how Android was meant to be experienced. 3.9 mil is not too great. It's not wonderful considering that 80 million iPhones were sold in 3 months. That's quite a stark difference of number of sales between Google and Apple. So I don't know what would get them to stop making it. Maybe if they just had a release that was so bad they had to change brand names. But this is one issue I have with Android that I like to bring up, is that there seems to be a lot of options, but there doesn't seem to be one option that has all the best things. It feels like no matter what Android phone you buy, you're compromising on the fact that there's another Android phone with one feature that is better. As in, if you want the best camera, you got to go Pixel 2 because of that AI machine learning. But if you go Pixel 2, you don't have wireless charging. You don't have a dual camera. If you care about this sort of thing, you don't have a headphone jack. If you go Samsung, then you get a fast charger included with headphones. You get the iris scanning, face unlock technology. You get curved edges. But then you get this skin that no one likes. And because that's not the way Android's meant to be used, and because Samsung phones are slower and buggier, then that's not a good purchase either. So it feels like no matter what Android phone you use, you're compromising on something. Whereas that's kind of what I like about iPhones, is that they're the best at what they do because they're iPhones. You think the 12-inch MacBook's webcam would finally be 720p this year? If you're having to use your webcam on a 12-inch MacBook, it's probably not for a very professional reason. Like, I'm live streaming now with a 1080p webcam, and you guys can probably tell it doesn't look much different than a 480p one. It looks a little bit better, but if they're trying to keep the MacBook cheap, then they probably won't. Why no company come up with a new operating system? Because it requires a certain amount of quote-unquote courage, as in it requires a certain amount of telling your users what they want. And that's what Apple has to do, is they have a very controversial marketing team of telling people, this is how it's going to work. This is what you want. And most companies don't do that. Most companies make products that they think people want, whereas Apple is the one company that makes things they know we want. Even if we don't think they want it, Apple's just kind of a very upfront, confrontive company that's like, hey, this is what you want. You're going to take it. We've decided. And that's kind of what it takes to make an ecosystem like that. So with other companies doing that, it's scary. They don't want to deal with negative PR. They don't want to deal with backlash. And I guess Apple doesn't mind the backlash. They're okay with that. They're full well knowing about all of those negative PR they get for removing the headphone jack or adding a notch. They know what they're getting into, but they're a very confident company. That's a good way of describing them. Do you think they could put all the sensors of the notch under the OLED display, including the front-facing camera? That's personally how I think they're going to do it. I think they'll remove the notch by investing in the type of OLED display that can turn off and then be transparent, which means that when you use Face ID, when you use Animoji, when you activate open the camera, when you activate those types of things, you'll see holes in the operating system, where you can see that light blinking right there. The display will open up so that the sensors can get an accurate read. But then half the time, in fact, most of the time, when you're using your phone and you're not using Animoji or Face ID, those sensors will just cover up where the wallpaper is, be replaced with the time or whatever widgets they are. That's two technologies that already exist, so I could easily see them meshing and becoming reality. So that's what I think is going to happen, but I'm not an engineer, so how could I know? Why are you so rude on Twitter? I'm not rude. I'm funny. That's the see. Nathan thought that was good. I like. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I love Apple and that I don't like Android, and my Twitter page resembles that. Like, it's kind of the mentality of, yes, it's mean, but am I wrong? As in, when I hear a tweet that's Google is going to kill support for iPhone 6 era Nexus phones and all tablets in Android P, I'm like, hey, that kind of sucks. I want my 5,200 followers to know that, so that when I'm talking about videos, I don't have to repeat everything I've already said on Twitter. You look thin. Why, thank you. I'm not, but thank you. I was probably, yeah, I've probably even been mean to Apple on Twitter when I said, like, next time you make an ad, consult me first. I definitely got a lot of backlash for that one, but that's fun. I don't want to be a boring Twitter page. I also tweeted out a picture of what the Magic Mouse would look like if the charge port was on the front, which actually not that many people were into, surprisingly. So it's like, oh, I hate the charge port on the Magic Mouse, but do you want this though? You can't really see it. The webcam's not adjusting. Do you want a notch on your Magic Mouse? Because when you look at the Magic Mouse, there's not really a way you could embed the lightning port on the front without interrupting that curvature. So the fact that you only have to charge this once every 6 weeks is not that bad. You're not using your Mac for 6 weeks at a time. You can remember to plug it in here and there. Nima Super Chat, it says, hello from Tehran. Make a what's on devices video. I would, but I got to tell you, I don't think it's that interesting. And I'm trying to make content that people, we have a discussion to be had. You want to what's on my iPhone video? There it is. Apps. There's not a ton of third-party apps I use that are like, oh, this makes my 10 worth it. The hardware makes it worth it. It's not the third-party apps that make it worth it. Do you think Windows Mobile OS is more stable than Android and has the potential to be as good as iOS? No, because even Microsoft doesn't believe in that future. They're already canceling all of their Windows Mobile programs and just trying to move all of Microsoft onto iOS and Android. So no, I wouldn't say it's more stable. It might have had more potential at one point, but that time has passed. It's too late. There is what's on my iPhone video, and that was very funny. I'm just saying there's not much I can talk about other than like, hey guys, I'm going to talk about what's on my iPhone 10, the camera app, the calendar, photos, mail. I mean, do you want some third-party apps that aren't stock? Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme rewards. How many rewards do I have? See, I got this app because in Chico there's a really good Krispy Kreme because they're all amazing. And when you scan your rewards card here, they get points and then you can get free ones. So I have 133 rewards points, which means that if I get to 250, I get a free dozen donuts. Donuts are amazing. That was not a sponsor. See?
Let's go.
I credited myself. Krispy Kreme's not paying me, but if they did, oh my God, I'd be so happy. They could pay me in donuts, to be honest. They'd probably still make money. What companies have you seen with shoddy advertising? Krispy Kreme. That's what I see. What are your opinions about Apple switching to LG panels after the Pixel 2 XL issues earlier this year? I don't think we would have the same issues as the Pixel 2 XL because Apple has, in terms of manufacturing, a much harsher reliability check. As in, there was high failure rates when going through the iPhone 10 production. That's because Apple sets high standards. As in, Samsung, made the Note 7, but they also made the iPhone 10 display designed by Apple, but manufactured by Samsung, which just means that under the right management, I'm sure LG can do just fine. Google does not have good management or quality assurance enforcement because they ship phones, as John often brings up. They ship Pixel 2 phones without Android on them. I don't even know how that happens. I don't think Google pays attention to detail.
Yeah, Apple looks at their phones first.
Maybe they turn them on first instead of say, hey, can I squeeze it? Maybe that's what matters. Can I squeeze the phone? That's why the Pixel 2 is the best. You can squeeze it. The Juju LP says, what do you think about Nintendo Switch? Well, what we have here is a Nintendo of complete garbage.
No.
Which is this is Nathan, my editor, by the way, in case you don't know who these magical hands are. He's visiting for the weekend because we're working on other Tailosive channels and stuff. But what do you think of the Switch, Nathan? Tell them.
I mean, it's kind of the greatest. That's pretty much it. I don't know. I was just sitting over there playing.
How are those headphone checks treating you?
Fine.
Can it pair with AirPods?
No. Why would I want to do that? That would mess up my AirPod pairing, I think. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. See, because here. Do I live here? No. I'm just trying to, I could just bring this up and I'm sitting here playing Mario Kart. I didn't have to like plug something into, the TV. Bam.
It's almost like you could run this type of game on like a smartphone.
No, you could not. No, you couldn't. First of all, the smartphone's too small, not enough buttons, not powerful enough, not enough battery life.
You can pair this with a Nimbus controller.
Okay, button problem solved, I guess. But then you have to have a
what's funny, like hold your Switch up to the 10. Okay, which one has more pixels? Which one's display is brighter? Which one has louder speakers? They all agree with you. Don't worry. Everyone loves the Switch. I know I'm in the minority. I know. Drew, for the Pixel 2 to ship without Android, that means it had to get past Google and LG's quality control. How does that happen? Well, it must be Google then. It's got to be on Google because they're the kind of company to say, should the marketing department directly address the fact that we don't have a dual camera? Yeah, that's a good idea. Should we directly address the fact that we don't have face unlock technology, even though phones that cost $300 cheaper have that? No, let's not bring that up. Should we bash Apple for removing the headphone jack and then put it right back on a year later? This is the company we're talking about. So, see, Pinecone Bleach says iPhone 10 is better. So
then what? And Nintendo's, they're not the same thing at all. Pinecone Bleach. Well, never mind. But
how can you disagree with a name like Pinecone Bleach? Do you think Samsung will ever make their own OS and sell their phones with that on it? Benji, hey, you're a long-time viewer. Thanks for watching. I'd be very, very curious to see how that would go because I think Samsung would be taking a huge risk because they would be ditching the Play Store. There's no way that Google would allow them to run Android apps on Samsung's phone if it ran its own Tizen OS. It ran its own. But I'd be curious to see how Samsung would handle that. I'd very much be interested in how it would work, how it would be different from Android, if the optimization would be better. Not saying it would be better. It could be totally a flop, but I would just really, really like to see them do that with their smartphones. Of course, they have Tizen OS, but it's limited to the Gear S3, which like nobody owns. So it's not really been put to practice on their Galaxy phones. If one day they decided to make, okay, Galaxy S10 is coming out. The Galaxy S10 is going to have two modes. You have an Android option or a Tizen option. I'd be very curious to try that Tizen option. It would probably suck, yes, but I would love to see them try. Joshua Sandoval says, I own a Nintendo Switch and Zelda sucks.
What?
He wrote that. I'm not making this up. Joshua, you're going to be a mod.
No, you can't mod him for that.
I own a Nintendo Switch.
I think he's just trying to get the views. I don't believe him.
He wants to get my approval.
I want a 5-page written essay on why Zelda sucks, so I don't believe it.
Joshua, please.
MLA format.
Please do it. Please do it. 5 paragraphs. I'll write it. I don't care. The only way to get me to write an essay. Don't worry. Rohit's on your side, Nathan.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's on my side. Idiot's on my side. Yeah.
He said Zelda's gameplay was a broken mess.
No.
MLA, remember?
That can be one of his supporting paragraphs.
Senior says, what is Switch? Usually something that turns on lights. At least that's a functional switch. What do you think is the most important participant in the Apple ecosystem, excluding the iPhone? As we discovered while filming the Grown Up ad, we use our Apple Watch a lot more than we think.
Yeah.
We kept getting close-ups of the Apple Watch playing music, being used for workout. We could have done it with Apple Pay. Everyone would have been more happy if we demoed Apple Pay with the Apple Watch, but we didn't. And also to unlock the Mac, the alarm, the waterproofing, we were like, watch is pretty crucial when you think about it. Chromebooks will be the next thing to get notches. No, because Chromebooks have more bezels than a Sony phone. Take that, front page tech. Okay. What are your thoughts on Logan Paul? Subscribe to Tailosive Talks and you'd know that. That question is for comedy. Glorious. As we're getting near the end of the live stream, this can be less and less purposeful. The S9 is finally better than iPhone 2G. Yes. Finally. Because Apple is known for their stellar gaming capabilities. It's true. They so much are. What happens if you turn on all the light in your background right now? You would see what's behind me.
Oh.
There's not much there. I mean, the SAS.
It would also cost them like $2,000.
True wireless charging. I've actually been in talks with this company. In talks meaning on their newsletter list. Is a company called WeCharging. So instead of Qi, it's WI. And the idea is you're able to plug in this certain charger on a ceiling and it is able to send power to your phone or tablet as long as you just plug in this little sensor. And I told them to send me prototypes of that product because I would love to try it. They haven't gotten back to me yet, but I'm saying the technology's there. It's just not safe yet. And when it is safe, it'll definitely make its way into products very quickly. Anyway, Joshua commented again. Okay, being serious. My problem with Zelda is that its story was non-existent. The 100% requirements are ridiculous. The enemies don't scale well, and the quests are all the same.
The 100% requirements are there for crazy people who want to put 900 hours in the game. You don't have to do it.
Well, if you bought a Switch, you better, because that's the only useful part of it.
It's not
I mean, look, this is not bias against Nintendo, because I hate all consoles.
Well,
I think the Xbox and PlayStation suck.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
But I would take an Xbox before I take a Switch.
Why?
Because it can play games that don't look like complete garbage.
PC, so you get this. So you can
I already have that.
Yeah. So get this so you can take it places.
I can take this places. I don't want to take two places. You're playing it like 20 feet from a computer.
No, but what computer can play Zelda?
Do you take a public bus everywhere?
No, I was playing it at the auto mall today. Bam.
Why are you up? Why are you at the auto mall?
$3,000 worth of repairs.
Tarek says PS Vita is better than Switch.
No, it's not.
Oh, actually, it wasn't.
Oh, this is a thing. Palav also says PS Vita is a better deal.
Give me one good game on the PS Vita.
Give me one good game on the Switch.
Zelda! Mario!
PC Master
Mario
Race,
Kart.
except the Switch because it's own thing.
Dude.
S9 fingerprint reader looks like a tab from a beverage can. Yeah, it does. I never made that connection. What if the S9, like you could just pop it and soda came out of it? Lithium battery juice pours out of it like a Note 7. Ethan Andrews says, hey, Drew, what is your ultimate Apple product? I don't know how to describe that, but iMac Pro seems like the ultimate Apple product. I don't know. Xander is also in the room, yes.
Hola.
Joshua says Horizon Zero Dawn plus PS4 Master Race.
No.
Well, Nathan countered you with a flat no, so I imagine if this was a chat room, that would have been italicized.
I'm happy for Josh or whoever that was.
Fortnite Mobile was announced. Would you like to see how it plays on iPhone 10? Yeah, it'd probably run better than Zelda on the Switch.
No,
So
okay.
I could bet.
You know what's great is like Fortnite Mobile's out, but Fortnite's not on the Switch.
It isn't?
No.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, get on it, Ubisoft or whoever. I don't know.
Epic.
No,
Games.
get on it,
No.
Nintendo.
No, Nintendo has no
Get
control
games.
over that. I mean, okay, they have limited control over that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
this is-
pretty shocking if something can run on my MacBook, but not the Switch.
No.
Nathan is now my third favorite Tailosive team member.
Wow. Okay.
Who's your second?
Yeah, wait, who's the second?
So usually when I ask people who's your favorite Tailosive member, it's always like
Am
Wyatt.
I anyone's favorite Tailosive member?
someone probably said that. You on your debate with John, which you lost by the way. Well, you said the problem isn't the only. Okay, the problem is your spelling, Andre. Yo, on your debate with John, which, as in which with a broomstick, you lost, by the way. Well, you said the problem isn't the only problem with old phones, so what other issues are they? I don't know how to answer that. Anyway, John, congratulations, you won. Apparently, Andre's decided. Words are hard sometimes, yes. That's enough triggering comments. I kind of love triggering comments, though. Dark magic. Freaking witch. Nice. Thoughts about the S9?
Sucks.
Okay, got it. It doesn't suck.
Okay.
The S9 is, I'd rather have an S9.
Would you rather have 3 switches?
I have 3 switches. They turn on the lights over there.
They turn on the hallway lights.
No, one turns on the outdoor lights. One does nothing. So that's probably the Nintendo Switch. And then the last one turns on the ceiling lights.
Okay, wait.
I have 3 switches.
Drew.
What was the question? Andre says, let me rephrase that. I'll give him a second chance because I want to find out how I lost the debate, which apparently was all about how the audience won, but now I've lost somehow. How did I lose? Did you see the debate, Nathan?
I have some opinions that I've heard on the debate by reputable sources. Can you hear me over here? Or is it just annoying for them? I don't know.
I want to know Front Page Tech's opinion on the Switch. We can find something we agree on.
Should we call him right now?
He's in the chat.
Oh, hi. Can I talk to
Matthew super chatted and said, you need to RGB your studio.
No.
Or you can
Razer stuff costs so much money.
Really go blue? I did. I really went blue. RGB. Really go blue. Done. Okay. I'm waiting for him to rephrase that. When can we expect the $10,000 iMac crash durability test? Tomorrow. Let's see.
Do you think the iMac Pro can stand up to C4?
Okay, Front Page Tech responded. What do you think he thinks of the Switch?
The Switch is okay if you're
If you're a communist, it's okay.
Can I offer an opinion to Front Page Tech?
I don't like it, but I'm actually confused by that opinion.
This is something separate just to get even.
He said JK just wanted to start.
Oh, okay.
No. Honest opinions. Good, bad. Do you own one?
Good, bad.
While we're waiting for him, my grandmother watched part of the debate.
Okay.
Here's what she noticed.
Does she know what's going on?
Yes. She
Okay.
thought you did a good job.
Aww.
Here's what she noticed. Not to be rude, but kind of a little bit because you insulted my Switch.
Yes.
She was like, I noticed that Andrew, in his nice office setup, and the other 2 are in their bedrooms. So I'm sure you have a great reason.
I don't think John was in his bedroom.
Well,
to be fair, Roberto was in a hotel because he was at an event.
I'm just telling you what the grandma said.
To be fair, I thought John had the way nicer camera. He had like a DSLR.
Are you
hookup.
sure you used yours?
I can't. They don't hook up.
Get a
That's
Tesla.
why they're cheap. Did you say get a Tesla?
Yes.
Well, who cares?
That's not irrelevant to the
I'm just
topic,
trying
but
to
I
break
should
the
still get a
idea
Tesla,
here.
yes. PS Vita for the rich and Switch for people in the slums. I have a 5C. Don't joke about the 5C. That was a good phone.
5C was a good phone.
Listen to this man.
Nathan,
He's better than the Switch.
it came in a really awesome blue color.
You know what the Switch is better than?
What?
The Pixel.
You know what
Yes,
was the
true.
best part about the 5C? It had colored backs.
John was in his
bed.
John was in his office.
I'm not giving any opinions. This is what my grandmother said. Call her up if you have a problem with it.
What's her phone number?
Speak it for the chat.
916.
Oh no.
Careful.
732.
No.
1456. Call it.
You just told that to everyone.
I know.
Poor grandma at 12:50 in the morning.
No, but the 5C was great because it had really colorful backs, but it still had black bezels.
I think that the A12 should be able to do 1080p at 960 frames per second. We quickly realized with the S9, like, because it's like, oh, you can only do 960 for 0.2 seconds. That 0.2 seconds extends to like 6 seconds, which means that if you were to record a full second of 960 FPS, you'd have a minute-long video. Or no, more than that. Right? I don't know. It would be, I don't know if you want that, though. That's too slow almost. I was going to say the Switch is a great return to form for Nintendo, but now I take it back. Nathan is a communist.
I was reading that and I was like, oh, wait, I like John. I apologize, but now I'm still mad.
The Newton was better than the Switch.
Oh.
Why? Because Drew owns a Newton.
Because it had 2 megabytes flash memory.
I own 2 Newtons.
Wait, is that the game console?
No. Silly.
Oh, no, Nathan.
Your hair is better than the Switch. Ouch. I think.
Wait, yeah. Wait.
They're over on the shelves. There's 2 of them. It's not there. They're over here.
Oh, the wrong shelf?
The metal one.
Oh, wait, the Newton's that stupid thing.
Nathan, it has 2 megabytes of flash memory.
I'll show them. For people who don't know, this is the Newton, which was invented when Steve Jobs wasn't around.
And this is what you're comparing it
2
to.
megabytes of flash memory.
What does your physical memory look like?
This tiny little card.
Pull it out.
Is that going to break it?
Breaks
it. I don't know.
So it can be broken. Okay,
anything can be broken.
Oh, is it a micro?
Here's
This
a
is
test I'm going to
120.
show.
Don't break it. What are you going to
look?
Stop.
Your internal storage can be blown away in the wind. This cannot. It's not a problem.
So when Google said the Google Home Mini was
lighter than a chipmunk, which they were wrong.
I don't know if this is a good way to measure.
Well, Apple never said this was lighter than a chipmunk.
No. I'm saying that this can be blown away in the wind, I don't think is a good argument. Just like the
lick the game card. 2 megs goes in.
Other way. There you go.
It's not reversible.
But
neither is microwave. So.
Other way.
Other way. Oh yeah, because it's got a. Who wants a stylus? Question for Nathan.
I'm not answering any questions at this time. You can talk to my publicist.
I wish I could do that. Just goes live. Justine also says Switch is trash.
Justine's here?
Yes.
Oh.
And in some parts of the world, it is still. What's today? Friday? Thursday. So.
Thanks for pointing.
I guess that's why. That's why the title is still fine.
Oh, you're doing the live from YouTube. I was wondering why you were doing it from your Mac.
It's easy. It's very easy. Is $950 a good deal for a 2015 MacBook Pro 13-inch?
2015, $950? Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's a great deal.
I'm not making fun of you. That's just your name. Would you rather own a Nokia brick phone or a Pixel 2? Pixel 2 is worth more, I'd tell it.
Yeah. Or you could shoot it and make a cool video.
That's true. I could shoot it and it would be destroyed, unlike the Nokia.
Yes.
What's the time at your country? 12:54 a.m. Let's see. Lick the game card, they're asking you. They're telling you, actually. One new feature to add on iPhone. Remove the lightning port. One new feature other than removing things. I like face chat bubbles from Android. I have played Fortnite, yes. Not a super big fan, but not take away a feature. Okay, a new feature. A plus model. Larger display, right? A third camera on the back. Dark mode. Thoughts on the future of the Apple Neural Engine on A12, A12X? It obviously doesn't make a massive difference, but I think every chip is going to be a little bit faster. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I think we've gone over the hour now. I appreciate all of the super chats, all of the questions. Thank you very much. Please subscribe to Tailosive Gaming, as you're going to see an unboxing on that channel today at some point, hopefully. And subscribe to the main channel where we make Saturday shorts, because that will be returning tomorrow. And if you donate on Patreon, you can watch that Saturday short right now. It's available right now. Nathan. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. This is your Apple Sheep here. Bye-bye.